Sure is a fine night for telling stories, ain't it? Well then, let me tell y'all one. This here happened out in the far west. Just not this far west. Way beyond this world, lost somewhere in the endless cosmic dark, there was a little moon orbiting a planet so damn big, it swallowed half the sky. Now let me tell you something about that cursed rock. That whole damn place was hostile. Everything wanted you dead, wanted to eat you alive. Every living thing that crawled, flew, or walked lived to take your life. The rain was acid. The storms buried folks alive. And the silence drove people mad. And that's where this story begins. The Spider Riders, tough bastards, real tough bastards. They lived in that violent little ecosystem and ate cactus for God's sake. But they weren't evil. They were just born in a place where surviving mattered more than anything else. And that always ends up being a bad story. When every living thing around you evolved to devour, well, folks tend to forget how to live. These two right here, they were the last of their kind. The last riders. Our heroes. All the others had died fighting monsters. Now, her. She liked the way our hero never panicked. The way he always knew where to point the gun. The way he made a dangerous world feel just a little less dangerous. And out on that cursed little moon, that was about the closest thing to love there was. Their ancestors didn't leave them much, just those ancient mechanical spiders. The sacred statements carved into stone, and an old cassette tape. Nobody knew who built those spiders. Truth is, nobody ever bothered asking. Those machines could do all kinds of things. Damn near looked like magic. But their main purpose was keeping folks alive. See, they had never touched the ground, never touched anything that wasn't the spider or a goddamn cactus. Hell, every spider rider died without ever touching another human being, because that's how it was carved in stone. The monolith, down there, right in the middle of the spider graveyard, that's where the sacred statements were written. Always ride the spider, everything kills, the machine provides. And there was one more statement. Do not eat of the sacred cactus if
you want to live.
If you want to live, that's what the Father used to say. But those words were never carved into the stone.
Don't let us hear the voices of the desert. Don't let us hear the voices of the desert. Don't let us hear the voices of the desert.
Now, the Father, the bearer of the cassette tape, he was their leader ever since they could remember. He was a legend among the Spider Riders. Some folks said he killed more monsters than the Storms did in 1,000 summers. His skill for killing changed the rules of the game. The Spider Riders stopped being prey and became hunters. The father taught the whole tribe his ways, and they swore to wipe every last creature off that moon. One night, the father spoke to our hero.
I taught
y'all many things,
but I never taught
but I never taught ye the most important one, he said.
Ah, hell. Don't mind me. That's just the voices of the desert talking.
Next morning, the father was dead atop his spider. The first one of them to ever die of old age. Our hero inherited the cassette tape. Nobody else wanted that burden. Now, he was good at killing, real good, but leading folks, well, that was another story. Little by little, the Spider Riders kept falling, one after another. Monsters too. Piles of them. By the time our heroes became the last living riders, finding breathing creatures had gotten harder and harder. So they kept tracking them. One last hunt, then another. Until one day, months of searching that now quiet little moon, they realized they were completely alone.
Wait a sec. Now, recording. That's my boy. One small step for a man, one giant step for... Are you okay, honey?
For the first time in their lives, they could step off the spider, feel the ground beneath their feet, look each other in the eye, and maybe even touch one another. Those were the best days of their lives. They still had to stay close to the spider, of course. That little world hadn't gone soft on them. And yet, everything felt different. Everything felt new. The sky, the sand, even the silence didn't seem so bad anymore. And not all of it just felt new. Some things actually were. Spider riders weren't much for daydreaming, but if she ever let herself want something, it looked like she'd finally found it. But days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Months into, well, a whole lot of time. And there ain't many ways to spend a lifetime on that moon. Once the wonder wore off, something changed in her. The monsters outside were gone, only to make room for the ones inside. And well, nobody had ever taught her how to fight those. As for our hero, wasn't a complex fella, a cactus without thorns, and a good sunset from the top of a cliff. That was enough for him. But her, poor girl. More and more often she'd lose herself staring at the horizon, as if she were waiting for something. The light in her seemed to fade like a spider when its rider dies. Trouble was, she'd finally stopped living just to survive, and yet it almost looked like she missed the hunt, like something was slipping away from her. She started to wander farther from the spider, farther than she should. Jesus, that one time it almost looked like she wanted to leave with the storm. Sometimes our hero wondered if she was listening to the voices of the desert. Don't listen to the voices of the desert. That was the only advice he knew how to give. Didn't seem to help much anyway. One morning, he woke up. Her spider was still there, but she wasn't. Our hero started looking around for her, and as he searched, things started getting weird. The air didn't seem too keen on going into his lungs. His heart kept pounding against his chest like it was demanding to be set free. Every shadow started looking like it knew something he didn't. And his head sounded like a battlefield, loud and chaotic. Maybe this, maybe that. Maybe she'd gone for a walk. Maybe she'd wandered farther than usual. Maybe we'd gotten careless. Maybe there was still a monster out there. Maybe I am the last spider rider left. There were tracks around the camp, but they didn't last long out there. The desert wind used to hide where folks had been. Wait. Her spider was still running, which meant she was still alive. For a moment, that felt like good news, but the maybes came back. Maybe she'd left. Maybe she didn't want to be found. Maybe the voices had dragged her out into the desert. The voices? That was it. Was that our punishment? Maybe we should have never touched the ground. Maybe we'd broken something sacred. Maybe that's how the voices get in. Then it hit him. All those maybes were those the voices of the desert? So that was it. The voices had fooled her and led her away. He'd spent his whole life learning not to listen to them, but now they were the only trail he had left. Hell, he'd listen to those goddamn voices if that's what it took to find her. And then he'd find a way to kill all those monsters in her head. Because that's what spider riders do. So he headed out into the desert and started listening. Funny thing about the voices of the desert, they always wore somebody else's voice. Most often, your own. And they usually showed up as questions no spider rider could afford to entertain. Why'd she smile when she looked at me? Why'd she stop? Those voices were powerful things. Our hero could feel him stirring something inside him. The warmth of the sun on his chest started feeling like a rock in his stomach, and some whispers made his skin crawl. You should have known. She needed you. You were supposed to keep her safe. Our hero figured he could fool the voices just long enough for him to lead him to her, but the longer he listened, the more they started making sense. A real leader would have known. The father would have known. Was I a good leader? No. Was the father? Why can't I remember anything before him? The voices just kept hammering away with questions. Who wrote the sacred statements anyway? They said, what's the point of a life spent hunting? What's the point of a life without hunting? Our hero searched for months. Turned over every damn rock on that cursed moon. But she was nowhere to be found. He listened and listened and listened, yet the voices never seemed too interested in telling him where she'd gone.
desert. Don't let us hear the voices of the desert. Don't let us hear the voices of the desert.
Then he saw it.
If you want to live,
And the voices said one last thing. Do it.
Hey, dude, have you ever seen a spider dance?
Are you okay, honey? I think we lost him.
Yeah. There he
That's
is.
my boy.
Now we are talking.
Come on, quick, it's starting. Hey, little guy, come over here. You've got to see this. This show's amazing.
Mira nomás qué hermoso día para matar monstruos. ¡Vamos, arañita!
Look at you laughing with monsters. You disgraced your spider. You touched the ground. You ate from the sacred cactus. You have broken every sacred statement we ever lived by. You'd even let the voices get inside your head, for God's sake. Now pick up your gun and do what Spider Riders do. What are you waiting for? Don't you understand? We are the monsters.
¿Y por qué nunca me pregunté de dónde sale esta pinche arañita?
What are you doing, buddy? Wait till you see what happens next. Ain't he adorable?
Bye, little fellow. See you.
Now, this is where the story gets interesting. You know why? Because this is where I come in. I know. This last part's been a little confusing. You'll understand, I promise. By the way, I never properly introduced myself. Name's James. James the Dancer. Well, folks, I gotta pee.